In this last section, we want to give some action steps and takeaways, and this framework about thinking about alcohol. Unbiased. Just I'm not saying whether it's good or bad or right or wrong. You need to decide that for yourself. But here's a framework to think about. And one of the things that I stole from one of my mentors, Dan Sullivan, and I love it because it's a great recentering before you're about to have a heavy talk or a heavy thought, and that is, all progress begins with telling the truth.
I love that.
And it really, it's convicting even to my own self. Like, we can lie to the world and we can lie to people around us, but we really don't do anybody any good when we lie to ourselves. And so when you're in a state to be honest with yourself, let's have this discussion about alcohol and how it's impacting your health journey. And please be reminded that making a decision or deciding not to make a decision is making a decision.
Yeah.
And so this is something that is impacting your health journey, whether you choose to make any active decision on it or not. It is there. What would you, before we give the action steps, I mean, maybe what would Jen's takeaway from this be? What would be your hope?
I think just helping people really be mindful, like make it more center front in your mind. I think it's one of the pillars that's kind of lost in traditional primary care, or life maybe. I mean, if we have to go more macro, but if your goal, it depends on your goal. If your goal is fat loss, if your goal is better sleep, if your goal is just overall improving your health, then you really have to take an audit of your alcohol consumption. That has to be part of everything. And like you just said, being brutally honest with that. Dr. Hooper, who you've had on the podcast before, I know, in his office, he has shot glasses. He has the actual measurement of alcohol, and he asks his patients, how much do you think you're putting in a drink? And knowingly that they're going to underestimate that. And when they tell him the truth and it's over that, and then knowing it could be more than that, then it's like, okay, we really have to dig into how much you're actually consuming, why you're consuming that, what state are you trying to achieve,
and why aren't you in there,
and can we help you get there without this toxin that's affecting your liver, your sleep, your mental state, possibly your marriage, possibly your work relationships. I mean, it's a big deal.
It's a really big deal, and I think my hopes are very, very similar to yours. I would like people to not feel judged.
Yeah.
But also be encouraged to not overlook this, that there is something here to be thought of, and this deserves some thoughtfulness, and an honest assessment. And I hope this helps folks take those steps to honestly assess. And I think the basic 4 steps would be, again, the first 2 are really about this whole, like, all progress begins with telling the truth. Be honest about your consumption and your frequency, and to yourself. You don't have to say this to anybody else. Just with you, how much are you consuming, both in volume and in frequency? The thing, number 2 is to be honest about your health goals. Like, are there goals on the horizon that you would like to achieve in your ideal self that you don't realize now? Then I would audit for friction. So step number 3 is, based on those honest assessment of consumption and what your goals are there any friction points, either instinctively or curiosity-wise, or something that maybe was provoked in this talk? Whether it's better sleep, maybe it's, better mood, maybe, am I masking a real problem? Something else is this an avoidance? Is this a numbing, an escapism kind of thing? And dig into those friction points going into step number 4, which is then either make changes or set new goals based on these friction points that lead you towards an achievable goal that maps you toward your ideal self.
Yeah.
And we've talked a lot about goal setting. We've talked a lot about the gap in the gain. We've talked a lot about, using our future ideal self as just the horizon. You're never going to arrive, but you should always pursue it and become closer to it. And I think they need to be your goals. I think they need to be things that are important to you, because at the end of the day, you are the one in control.
Yeah.
And if you go through an honest assessment and an audit, and you're fine with your alcohol consumption as it pertains to your overall health journey, God bless.
Yeah.
Yeah, carry on. But I think it deserves an honest assessment, just like other critical areas of your life deserve honest assessments. And we should never lose the ability to have an honest talk with ourselves about things that are very, very important.
Yeah.
Like, do I have this or does it have me?
Ooh, I like that. It's important.